I don't know about you, but when I'm gaming, I love to get screen captures. I love to be able to go back and see that kill or series of kills or string a whole bunch together so it looks like I'm better than I am.
Vengeance.
Now, originally, I really liked using SteelSeries Moments Capture. It's easy, it gets everything I want, it's customizable, it has translation so that you can quickly export it to Discord. It changes the compression size to the 8 megabytes that's required by them. But I realized that I was leaving something on the table. And what I was leaving on the table was performance. Now, recognizing this, I went and had a look to see what is the impact and what are the alternatives. So I'm playing Warzone 2 and I noticed my frame rate is actually higher than usual. And I didn't know why at first. I thought maybe it's a different server, maybe there's something that wasn't running in the background. And I was right. What wasn't running in the background was SteelSeries, which means that when I went to capture something, I wasn't able to capture it. When I turned it back on so that I'd have it for the next time, I ended up realizing that I lost those frames again. I ended up realizing that my frame rate went down again. And that got me thinking, what am I giving up? If I can actually notice the frame drop, is it worth it? And if it's not worth it, what are the alternatives? The software that we're going to go through today is, first of all, benchmarking a baseline with no screen capture enabled at all. Then we're also going to run the SteelSeries Moments Capture. We'll use NVIDIA's Shadowplay running off the NVENC encoder. And then the last system we're going to use is OBS. This first image has all of the pertinent details, really. So we only lose a little bit of performance going to NVIDIA's built-in encoder. We'll go through the exact numbers in a little bit. Now, using NVIDIA, we are able to capture 4K. It doesn't matter if we use 30 FPS or 60 FPS. It really comes down to how smooth do you want the video and how big do you want the video file to be. But it's basically a free capture. Now for the next one, we moved over to the SteelSeries. Now I've seen some mixed results here. I've seen it go from anywhere from the 164 that we see at the base down to 143, fairly consistent. In this case, I was able to get it at about 150. So not bad, we're giving up some performance, but not huge. It doesn't seem to matter if you're using the standard capture, or what I call base here, or whether you're using the elevated capture. What does matter is if you max out the settings. If you're trying to capture everything possible, you're going to see a big hit to your performance. In fact, you'll see the exact same hit to your performance that you do just capturing with OBS. Now, I don't think you're going to be capturing a clip with OBS. You'd probably be capturing everything. What it does show is that you're going to want to actually have a secondary system for streaming if you're doing it competitively. It will impact your performance. Now, if we look specifically at the frame rates, so we're seeing 164 frames per second on the baseline. We lose 5 or 6 by using the NVIDIA capture, having that running in the background. Realistically, going from 164 at 4K down to 158 or 159, you're not going to notice that in real time. You will start to notice it when you're down to 151, because now you're losing some substantial performance. Going down to 123, where you're seeing it with the elevated SteelSeries or with OBS, you are definitely experiencing that. Now, typically 120 FPS is where I like to game, there or higher. I'm fortunate that my rig happens to game right around the max capabilities of the monitor I'm using, which is 165 Hertz. So it's a good showing. Now, you're also going to notice these 1% lows, that hitting of 79, 5% lows of 90, that's a huge hit. You're going to feel that in real time. And I have felt that, where you get those hiccups right when you're in the middle of lining up your shot. So if you're going to be streaming, you need a second computer and a capture card. Invest in a good capture card. You're not going to need a lot for the computer. You can run a fairly old rig and be able to capture and stream and do what you need to do without losing any actual performance in your gaming. So what does this look like as far as percentages go? So baseline obviously is 0. Everything goes down from there. You're losing about 3 to 3.7% depending on the frame rate capture that you're looking to do if you're using the NVIDIA ShadowPlay, the built-in NVENC encoder. It's basically free. So you hit Alt F10, it captures whatever it is, whether it was a win, whether it was a cool finishing move, an interesting play, somebody in your squad said something funny. It works really well. SteelSeries, again, I love SteelSeries because it's so easy. But when you're starting to lose 8% of your performance or 25% if you really want the best possible capture, which you don't worry about that. But that's a huge hit. 8%, you're going to experience it. You're going to feel it. So if you're going to use SteelSeries, recognize you're going to be giving something up for it. And then of course, OBS capture, elevated SteelSeries. If you're using OBS to capture, have a second computer. If you can't afford a second computer, then you better have a really high-end first computer. And again, a second computer in this case, I'm not talking about building another gaming rig. I'm talking about something dedicated to doing the capture. It'll make your life easier. It'll give you, it'll give you back these frames. These are huge frame rates. You're gonna want that back. All right, so what's the end result? Should you not use SteelSeries moments? I don't think that's necessarily the case. I didn't notice it a lot of the time, but I really started to notice it when I moved to 4K and I needed those frames. So when I was gaming at 1440p with my previous monitor, it didn't really stand out, but now it does. So what I would recommend to everybody is test it out. If you want those captures, see if you feel it. If you don't feel it, you're comfortable with it, maybe you have a monitor that's refresh rate allows this. So if you're gaming at 1080p and you've got a 144 hertz monitor, you might not necessarily even notice the impact. So figure that out because maybe it's still worthwhile. It's a great system that SteelSeries has. It's much easier and more reliable, oddly enough, than the one that NVIDIA has. I'll be using NVIDIA, do a capture, and it's a corrupted file. No apparent reason, just a couple of them are corrupted, which means that I've given something up there. But it works well. They both work well. One just sacrifices performance. So test it out for yourself. See if you feel it. If you do, then maybe you need to find an alternative. If you don't, then great. Keep using SteelSeries moments. It makes it so easy to share your stuff with your friends. So hopefully you found some value in today's video. If you liked it, like, share, subscribe. If you didn't like it, downvote it, give me a nasty comment, whatever it is. And down in the corner, you'll see a subscribe button. Hit that, ring the bell, and hopefully I'll see you back soon. Thanks. Game safe.
You go home now!